is we're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, and we're free. We're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, and we're free. If you're feeling it, please comment it right here in the live chat. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being with us. Um, we love this form of interaction. Please do use the live chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And if you have an opinion on something that we're talking about, if you have a question about something that we're talking about, that's exactly why we are loving this format, why we're doing the live streams, the pure positive stream of life. That's what this is all about. Hey Jane, hey Tansel, hey Agni, how you going? How you doing? Agni is. I think you have pretty much been on every live stream so far. I know Jane, you've been here too. You guys are closer to each other, not very close, but closer. London and Scotland, and today we would like to talk about the power of intention, dreaming, and how basically how new programs, not just for yourself and your life, but for the whole planet, are created. Because one thing that is becoming evident, and is not just something that we are feeling and you're feeling. Oh, there you go. London is very well represented today. Um, it's not just something that you are feeling and we're feeling, but that I see now more and more of the people around the planet are feeling, is that this is probably the most transformational time in human history, at least for many many generations right now. So we probably can't even understand at this moment in time how monumental these times are. I know that the other side, I know if you've been here yesterday, I know UC has emphasized this, I know Abraham has emphasized this, I know that other people who are getting these messages through are saying this as well. These are monumental times. I've been reaching out to friends and people that we have been working with or have worked with in the past from different organizations, and it's pretty much the same. They pretty much are getting the same. It's monumental, it's amazing, it's transformational, and we're in the midst of it. It is something that we as a whole, as a collective, as a global community of humans have created. We've created this moment, and now it's about how are we going forward? What are we creating from this, out of this? This is probably the most important questions of our time right here. And I want to start with a story, something that isn't very well known, but that is probably the most important piece of information that you can have when you think about creation. Now, I know we all have been listening to Abraham. We all know about the law of attraction. We all know about the power of our thoughts, but this goes even deeper. So stick with me here. This is a very, very cool story, but I will first check in and see who else is tuned in today. So I know we have the UK is very well represented today. I see we have Dayton, Ohio. We have Rose from Nashville. Hey, Rose, how's it going? We got Texas here. We got Japan. Ohio gozaimasu. We got France. Bonjour. So Drew is here. And before I jump into that story, we got New York State. We got Mexico, Barbados. Hey, how's it going? Oh, Barbados, man. I'm already there. And I just want to jump on Drew's story here, and thank you, Drew, for all your comments on yesterday's video. Again, you should go back to the past days for to see Drew's comments. Drew has an amazing take on this whole virus story, his own personal experience, and very powerful. Thank you for sharing all of this, Drew. There's so much going on right now, so many comments and emails that we're getting that we're kind of a little behind on that. So I apologize if the responses for the comments are coming slow, but this is just, it's moving forward so fast. But let me jump into the story. So basically, we all believe that the wealthiest people on the planet are the ones that we know from the Forbes list and from TV and from, the Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos and the people that we know. But the wealthiest man on the planet is someone whose name no one really knows. No one knows where he lives. But this person has access to basically all the wealth on the planet, or has had access until now. And let me go back. There has been a lineage for many, many, many generations, millennia, of so-called high priests. And this is, in this regard, this is not even a religious, so it's not about affiliation with a single religion. The high priests were, at any given time, 7 people on the planet that were creating the most intense and highly sophisticated programs and mental images for all of humanity. And what they do throughout their whole lifetime is thinking. All they do is think. And they are amongst us, they always have been, and they are probably the people that you would least expect from. They might look regular, but because of the power and because of the secret knowledge that they have created mental images that are so huge that their programs that they create literally have been passed on to all of humanity without even knowing. And how this works is, now you know that some people can read minds. You know that some people have extraordinary abilities when it comes to reading other people or even sending out thoughts. You might have been in a situation where you have been manipulated by someone, or you might be, someone who can do that. But this is going a lot deeper than that. What they have created is all of our sciences that we know today, whether it's physics or chemistry, biology, and all the other sciences that we're dealing with today, they were all created by them. And if you add them all together, and if you look at them as a whole, they would give you the whole picture of the human history and how programs are created. And why this is so important and powerful is because now we're in a period where we're transitioning out of these programs. And basically, the thing is that basically now we almost have a blank canvas. So moving forward, we don't know yet how exactly the next months and years and decades will be. It is not predetermined yet, because for the first time in thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years, the accumulated knowledge and wisdom by a critical mass of people, namely you and thousands out there, now millions of people, have risen to a level of understanding and knowledge so that their programs now are overriding the programs of these so-called high priests. And I don't want to get too technical, but what is basically happening is that the well-being of humanity, the well-being of the planet, the well-being of every living creation is coming back into the center of focus right now. And this is the power of this moment. This is what is happening. And if you understand this, if you understand how powerful your thoughts are, because we all have been working with this concept, we all have been learning and learning and learning and listening and listening and listening. But look at the world right now and you can see your power. And the power, this is not the end result. There will not be an end result, but this is the transitioning period. And what is happening is all the systems are shutting down. And why are they shutting down? Because it is not working anymore. Because it hasn't been working for a while, and because we have just artificially been keeping them up. But now the systems are shutting down for very good reasons, because better systems are about to replace them. Better ideas are about to replace them. More natural ways of living, thinking, and being together are about to replace them. And if you read between the lines, if you go and listen to what Abraham has been saying over the past days through the new Abraham Now program, and what we have been getting from UC is exactly that. Read between the lines. That's what they are saying, is that the solutions that are being created through our collective desire and intention are so intensely awesome that we cannot even fathom how amazingly beautiful our near future is going to be. And for the first time in human history, we have the ability to connect in such a global way that now you can see that through technology we are finding each other even faster and better. And this is the amazing part about all of this. I have to check in and see what you guys are saying here, or I'm just going to get faster and faster in this thought process. And I don't want to I don't want to I don't want to go too fast. I want to enjoy the moment with you. Gary's also tuning in from Nashville. Little, I'm always late. Rosie says, completely agree. So up until this moment, for we don't know how long, because it's hard to trace back. But if we look at the different cultures that are alive that have passed on knowledge and wisdom, if you look at the religious texts that reflect on the history of humanity far back, including the Bible, the Old Testament, and the New Testament, if you look at all those religious texts, they will show you that history always repeats itself. And so far, humanity has always gone up in civilization. Humanity has created amazing things through the power of love, has created amazing things through the power of love until the love of power has overtaken. And that's always the shift moment. Through the power of love, we've created amazing things, but then the love of power has become stronger. And all of a sudden, we have gone into this downward spiral where we don't evolve anymore as humans, but we become so centered on power. And in our current system, it was money, that the well-being of every living being is not important anymore. The well-being of the planet is not important anymore. Kindness is not important anymore. And so in the history of humanity, it was always the same thing. Humanity was rising up, and then it basically destroyed itself, and almost destroyed the planet, and then it all started all over again. And that has happened many times. It is from the ages of darkness to the ages, into the light and back to the darkness. But what we see, this is an unprecedented moment. I have tried to find a period like this in any ancient text, in any religious text, and I don't see that I can find a moment like we're experiencing right now. Maybe similar, but not exactly like right now. This is unprecedented. So that is why the emphasis on your creative power right now. That is why you are given. We have all given us the gift of time right now. For most people, they have more time than ever to be creative. Now, yes, we can use the time to read books, and yes, we can use the time to watch uplifting movies and stuff like that, and that's all good, but how much time do we give ourselves to think? How much time do we give ourselves to dream? How much time do we give ourselves to be creative without limitations? That's really the most important part, because when we're creative without limitations, we create an amazing life for ourselves, but we also create an amazing life for everyone on the planet. And I mean, some of the things that are not coming through as strong in the media and as strong are the beautiful things that we see in big cities all around the planet. The pollution levels have gone down to almost zero. I mean, even in our here in our own surroundings, we can see nature coming back. We can see animals coming closer. We can see nature is breathing. And what does that mean? It means that we have given it the much needed break that it needs, and the creative powers are coming back and are flowing through us. It is amazing to observe. Let me see what you guys are saying. Yeah, so basically, Rosie says the atomic bomb had already been invented before in other civilizations. I think if you go back to Atlantis, and if you go back to the civilizations before, I believe they might have even had weapons that were stronger and more sophisticated than what we have. But it appears to me that we are moving into a new age where the emphasis on creating, I don't know, even greater instruments of death is not going to be that strong anymore. I believe we're going to see a decline in that. And I believe we're going to, one of the things that I see coming in the near future is that meditation in our Western culture is, going to be taught to the very little ones. I believe it's going to be something that is going to, go into all the schools, go into all the childcare, go into all the families. So I think it's going to become a new normal in our lives. And if you look at the cultures, the countries that are already using meditation, that are already having this as a practice in their daily lives, there's so much more peace, there's so much more harmony, there's so much more creativity. There is, as a whole, these countries are not struggling with the things that we have been struggling with, like crime and violence and all of that. So I believe that's one of the first thing that we're going to see increase is even more meditation teachers, even more meditation centers, even more well-being centers, because we are now getting used to a new normal of well-being. What do you guys think? What is your new normal of well-being? And if you look at your life right now, now that you have more time on your hands, what do you think will your new normal look like? What do you think will your new daily lives look like? I wonder, how do you envision your own future? Let me see what you guys are saying. Yeah, so basically, Drew says 200 years of physical life, first time will be recognized as childhood. That's interesting, Drew. Thank you for sharing this. Um, I want to jump on something. Someone said something up here. Jason, thanks for the lessons, centralized big banks. It's interesting, Jason, that you're saying that one of the things that we have seen here in the US, and we don't know how this is going to play out, but as of right now, it appears that there is a systematic change in the background going on. Most of you probably have heard that the US has passed the big stimulus bill, $2 trillion. And what's happened in the background, the way this is going to be distributed and the financial instruments that were created, basically had the effect that it appears that the Federal Reserve, which is a private central bank that is distributing through the instrument of debt, distributing the currency, it appears that it has been centralized in this process. Now, this is mainstream news. This is not a conspiracy in the background, which has been in the works for now over 100 years. The Federal Reserve Act was passed in 1913. So, if we're seeing this happening, it means that already new structures are emerging. Now, we don't know how this is going to play out, but we do know that this is a wonderful step in the right direction, because we would like to, as a people, we desire to have the power over our currency and economy in our hands, don't we? So we can create a system that is good for us. And that is one thing, too, that I have seen around the planet from spiritual teachers. I've seen around the planet from people that have been working on these transformational changes. The same thing they're saying is, we created the rules. There is absolutely no need for us as humanity to go forward and suffer because of some economic crisis. The economic crisis is completely avoidable because it's not a natural law. Our economy isn't based on a natural law. Our economy is an artificial system that we've created. Now, through these events and what's happening right now, we are required to change it, and to change it to the better. And I think this is very important for you to know, and don't fall into the trap of believing that there is now a time of suffering ahead of us because we have lost money, because the economy has lost time. There's no need for that. We can change the rules, because it's a system that humans have created. It's not that old either. We can change it. We just have to come together and figure out a better way. And thankfully, so many people have amazing ideas. And so if we put them all together, this is the power of our intention, of our desires. So we can change those rules. And I would encourage you, and I really encourage you to have this image, to have this program in your mind, that we can move forward thriving even more than we have ever before, being economically even freer than we have ever been before. This is not a time to limit yourself or be afraid of the future, because some economists that have said the same things for the past decades are saying this. Do not listen. We're about to change the game, and the game is going to be a game where everyone can win. Okay, the new game is everyone can win. And this is the game that we all have been waiting for. Everyone can win. That's the new name of the game. So create those images and go and walk with those images. See them and explore what your mind does when you think about that. See how it feels when you think about the future, about a thriving future, about a future where the planet thrives, where humanity thrives, economies thrive, where we are more abundant than ever and more conscious and aware of each other and of the planet as a whole. How does that feel? Because this feels amazing to me. I know this is the vision that I'm holding, and no doomsday predictions anymore. No, this is going to be hard anymore. There is absolutely no need whatsoever for our future to be hard or grim or dark or recession or all those words. We can change that on a dime right now with the power of our minds and our hearts. Let me see what you guys are saying. I have to scroll up a little bit. Thank you all so much for always. I love this live chat thing. This is it's so beautiful, and Kristin and I have been talking about this yesterday. It is so beautiful to have this interaction, and don't be afraid or shy. Let us know what you guys think. Let us know what your thoughts are on this. This is exactly why we've chosen this medium. This is so exciting to be with you guys. Tansel, great question. Thanks for bringing this up. To be aligned, do we have to follow a particular diet? It's something that Kristin and I talked about, and I wasn't even sure we were going to be able to fit this in here, but you co-creators have picked up on this and asked this question. Perfect question. And let me jump on what we talked about today and then go on diet as a holistic topic. So the number one thing was alcohol that Kristin and I talked about today. Now, Kristin and I both haven't had a drop of alcohol in probably 12 years now. And it was a conscious decision. We didn't have a problem or anything. We just decided that we were raising our vibration. We were expanding as humans, as spiritual beings, and it just did not align with the energy of alcohol anymore. Alcohol has a very low vibration, and I would probably say that it is not aligned with the frequency that humans usually vibrate at. Now, this is no judgment, and I know people enjoy their drink, their glass of wine, their beer, whatever. This is absolutely no judgment. This is just and I will just speak from my own experience. I was what people call a recreational drinker. I would have a beer every now and then, and I would have a few beers, being with friends sometimes. So, but I would say that on average, I probably had an alcoholic beverage maybe every other day, every third day, something like that. When I left out alcohol completely, I noticed something that I didn't notice big things up until 2-3 months in. And I know that what it felt like, I didn't know this at the time, but it felt like more clarity came to my system. When I was 2-3 months into the abstinence, I felt like a haze was lifted. So apparently alcohol lingers in your system way longer than it can be traced through any blood alcohol tests or anything like that, which means that, at least that's what it was for me, it took a whole of 6 months where I felt perfect clarity, where I felt that the haze was completely gone. 6 months. That's how long it took. So this is my experience, and I wasn't a heavy drinker by any means, but this means that alcohol has a very strong effect on the body, I believe, on the spirit. So I believe that trying it for yourself and removing alcohol from your experience and from your diet and just trying it might be a good idea. I can only encourage you. It was probably one of the best things I've ever done. And then some 5-6 years later, we completely eliminated meat from our diet, which was another month-long process thing until all of this energy was out of our body, and it led to our energy levels were much higher, our health levels, something that we would experience more often, which is colds or minor illnesses, were almost completely gone. We felt a rejuvenation of our cells and of our bodies, and we continue to feel that we're rejuvenating on a greater level. That was leaving out meat. Now, we do on occasion enjoy dairy products, very, very, very little, sometimes Parmesan cheese. But for the most part, we are dairy free too. Eggs sometimes, yes, we do eat eggs sometimes. But I will say this is now kind of a dietary guideline, and it isn't my intention to tell you guys what to eat and how to eat. I do absolutely side with all the spiritual teachers, including Abraham, that will tell you what you believe and how you feel about what you eat is more important than what you eat. However, I have noticed that the more aligned I am with my body and what it requires, the more I navigate to certain foods and away from others. Now, fresh raw food always feels the best, bar none. Fresh raw food always feels the best. When we were on a juice diet, it wasn't even a diet. We were just juicing for 2 months earlier this year. It is such a level of feeling good and amazing and clean and high vibing. Okay, so this is what feels the best. But it's your journey there. I would just it's an awesome question. It's important for you to pay attention to that though. Definitely, definitely. The more sugar I consume, the harder it is for me to feel, greatly aligned. That's just how it is. The more processed foods I consume, I feel my energy levels going down. That is just something that's, to me, it's almost a given. Now, do I feel like eating a piece of cake sometimes? Hell yeah, I do, and I do, and then I enjoy it. But making this a habit, I know isn't good for me. I know it doesn't feel good, and I know it doesn't help me. So if this answers your question, I know the other side would skip all of this, and they would basically say you have to feel what vibes with you. That's the most important thing. Now let me see what you guys are saying. Gary, yeah, that's really, really, really true. Quit drinking on 3/22. Congrats, Rosie. That's awesome. No cheese. Rosie says she can't watch us anymore now that we have told her no cheese. That's probably, see, I will be honest with you guys, okay? Having a pizza without mozzarella it just doesn't feel right, okay? But I know this is just up here. I know that eating any dairy product that comes from not just organic farm, but from a small farm where animals live in wonderful, beautiful, free-range conditions is a completely different story than having the mass-produced product. And so you all know that. There's a huge difference in that. And we're just becoming more conscious and aware of it now. And I believe it's going to be one of the changes on the planet over the next years, that this treating of animals as simple products is going to go away. And even for all the cultures that have been eating meat for millennia, they always will tell you that there's gratitude involved in that. If you look at the natives here in America, they will tell you that if there's no appreciation, they don't see the animal as something that is beneath them. They have great appreciation and gratitude for the animal to provide food for them, provide the skin to use. So there's a whole different approach that we have lost with this. We have made it a product, and this is a huge topic. And I don't want to go into deep, but to answer the question, yes, I believe that diet is very important, and I believe that you all know this too by the way you feel when you eat certain foods or when you don't eat certain foods. Amazing Miracle says, I will always be a meat eater. See, it's all individual. However, whatever feels good to you. Gary, we did. If you were here yesterday, we did have a conversation with UC. We will have another conversation with UC in the following day. So please tune in. We kind of. And if you have questions, either please write them down. That's probably the best thing to do, so you do remember them. But just be with us. This is this to us. The beauty here is that we're not just coming on and feel like we are we're giving and you're taking. Not at all. I believe this is a complete co-creation. I believe this live stream was inspired by all of our thoughts, and so we enjoy how it is unfolding, and we enjoy how certain words that you throw in and questions that you throw in take us in different directions than it was planned. And I also believe it's the quality of a new time that scripts, as in plants, don't have the importance anymore, because energies are ever flowing. Scripts, once you write them down, it's a static thing, but energies are ever flowing and ever changing and ever evolving and ever expanding. So that's why this live stream concept is so beautiful and feels so good at this time, at this moment in our human history. Yes, it's true. Sadie says, "What's UC?" So, in short, UC are our friends from the other side, that we have been connecting with for about 10 years now. UC stands for Eternal Universal Consciousness, Y, and it's basically beautiful, wonderful guidance and wisdom that we're getting through these conversations now, thousands and thousands. Kristin and I have written, or the three of us, or our friends and us, have written a book that was released in German, never in English. Maybe in the future, or maybe a new book, who knows. But it's been thousands and thousands of conversations and just the most amazing guidance and wisdom. And we had a session yesterday here on a live stream, and in the following days we will have another session. And for those of you who have been with us since the beginning of the live stream, some, I don't know, 10 days ago or maybe a little less, who of you, now let me know, who has done the alphabet game that we started a week ago? I want to know in the comments who's been doing this every day, because if you have, then we will jump into step number 2 of this game. If you haven't, then we will have to extend it for another week, because this is really important. These simple little practices and games are actually transformational. So who has been doing it?
Yeah, you can make a good story.
How UC started, that's interesting. Amazing Miracles, thank you for your question. Agni says she's doing it every day. Fantastic. Which person are you talking about, Drew?
They're talking about the energy, about our friend.
About UC?
No, they're talking about the person who's not eating.
Oh, okay.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, so our friend Amza, he hasn't been eating in many years. No food, no solid food, just water and tea sometimes. But let me explain a little bit how UC started. That's a good question. So it was over 10 years ago that Kristina and I went to this lady. Our friends referred us to her, and she was they're always names, channel, psychic, whatever. So we went to her, and a really nice old lady. We sat around her little kitchen table, a very little apartment back in Austria, a little kitchen table. And so what she did is she would lay cards, she would read our palms, and then she connected with the other side, and you could ask questions, and they would answer. And she writes the way she gets it. She has this little table that she uses, and there's a pencil in one of the legs of the table, and then basically they move her hands, and she writes down answers to questions that you have. And we were done with the session, and she took another look at my hand, and she said, well, you really don't have to come to me. You can do this yourself. And I looked at her and I said, I know. And the reason that I knew that I was able to connect with the other side is, as a child, I would have, probably the wrong word, but something like premonitions. And as a child, why I stepped away from it is because I could see things before they were happening. But on 2 or 3 occasions, very bad things. I remember it was one morning I I just saw it happen. I saw a tornado happening. I was on vacation in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I saw a tornado coming, and there were no, there was nothing on the news, nothing. It was out of the blue that afternoon, and we were like a half a mile away. It was very, very close, unharmed. But I told my friend about it in the morning. I said, the skies were blue, the sun was out, and I said, we're gonna have a tornado today. And he looked at me and he said, you're crazy. Look at the weather. It's beautiful. And a few hours later, it was there. So that scared me. And then another thing that happened was I literally 2 days before it happened, I saw the death of my uncle, or not really biological uncle, but like my uncle. And basically, I saw exactly how it was going to happen. And I told my parents about it. And 2 days later, it happened. So you know, as a kid, that scares the living Jesus out of you. So I stepped away from that, and I didn't want to hear it, and I didn't want to know it. And now, through this lady, basically we went home, and what happened is, it's so interesting, and I'll let you know why. Is the next day, Christine started bugging me about it and said, "Come on, let's try it. Come on, let's try to connect. Let's try to talk to the other side." And I did, because I usually do what my wife tells me to, and I did. So I sat down, and I tried it, and it was hard at first. I wasn't sure if it was me. I had doubts, and it was kind of a shaky experience. But every single day she would encourage me to try again and try again and try again. And I realized soon that the only thing that was keeping me from really being clear about what's coming through is my doubts, because I felt the presence. It was just me in my mind thinking, "Oh, is it or is it not, or am I thinking this?" So, long story short, after a few weeks, I was using this table that the lady gave me, and after a few weeks, the messages were coming through so rapidly that I was, at one point, I just lost the table, and I started talking, and I just let the words come through me. And 10 years in, thousands and thousands and thousands of conversations, believe me, thousands of conversations later, this has become like talking to a friend. It's like picking up your phone, calling your mom. This is kind of how these conversations go. And the funny thing is that when we had discovered Abraham, and I researched Esther's and Jerry's story, Abraham Hicks, basically what Esther says, what that Jerry was the driving force, because he had so many questions, and he bugged her to connect every day, and talk and answer and have Abraham answer those questions, which is exactly how it was with Christine and I. She bugged me every day, and she had so many questions, and she always wanted to connect, and she talked about everything you could possibly imagine, every question you could possibly imagine she asked. And so thousands and thousands of conversations later, they encouraged us to open up the conversation to not just friends and family, but to the public. And that's when we started sharing this on a broader scale. And it's just it's increasing more and more. And it's it requires it requires it's a new dimension to do this on a more public scale. Let me just put it that way. What do you say?
No, we're doing sessions where.
Oh yeah, and for those of you who are more comfortable doing this on a one-on-one, please feel free to you can email us. There's on the YouTube channel. If you click on that home button on the YouTube channel, you can send us an email if you want to do one-on-one. Some people are just more comfortable. We do those too, and those are very interesting always. And so yeah, that's kind of the story of how we started connecting with UC, and what or who they are, eternal universal consciousness. That's who they are. Let me see what you guys are saying here. It's always I have to go back to the comments. Oh, I love your comments, guys. Thank you so much. I love the energy here. So, for those of you, let me just You're so welcome. The alphabet game, and that's what we wanted to close with today. For those of you who haven't done it before, let's make two parts here. The people who haven't done the alphabet game for the past 7 days, that's what we encourage you to do. This is a transformational practice. Christina's been doing this with her clients for many, many years with always amazing results. So what you do is you write down the alphabet kind of like this. I probably have it in here, but you do this. So you write big letters A, B, C, D, and so forth. And then what you do is every day, one letter per day. So one word per letter per day. That's how it is. You find an adjective that is positive and that describes you. Okay, for A, for example, you can write you're amazing, or you are awesome, or for
Adventurous.
or you are adventurous. Thank you, honey. But what you do is you find one word per letter per day. Okay, so you go through the whole alphabet and you find one word for every letter on one day, and then you do this for a week, for 7 days. And make sure that you really feel and resonate with the words that you're writing down. Now, if these are qualities that you would like to have, but feel you don't have them, that's totally fine. It's about that. It's about having a date with yourself and falling in love with yourself. This alphabet game is very transformational. So find a word for every letter per day that describes you, an adjective. So at the end of 7 days, you will have 7 words for each letter. I know some letters are harder, and that's fine. Don't worry about it. If you know, X might be a little challenging. But now this is part 2. For those of you who have been doing it, a week later now, what you will do is pick your favorite word for A, for B, for C, for D, and start with A. First day, pick your favorite word that you wrote down. Out of the 7 words that you have with the letter A, pick your favorite one. Let's say adventurous. And throughout the whole day, tell yourself, it's so amazing how adventurous I am. And think of situations that reflect that in your life. Make this the word of your day, and connect as many positive feelings as you can with it. Think of as many situations as you can where you are adventurous. Truly make this the center of your day. This is all about falling in love with the wonderful qualities that you are. And then on day number 2, you will find the favorite word for B. Let's say something simple, beautiful. Okay, we all are beautiful. You are beautiful. So find in your mind situations. Maybe it's something like, oh, I remember that day when, I wore this beautiful dress and I went out and I looked so beautiful. Then look in the mirror and tell yourself you're beautiful. But beauty is also on the inside. You have a beautiful heart. So make beautiful the word of the day. And so forth for until you are at the last letter of the alphabet. Do this every day. Pick the favorite word for the letter and live this word to the fullest. Script it, dance it, sing it, make it the center of your attention for that day. This is a very powerful game, and it requires you for almost a whole month to really be very, very conscious about the experiences that you're going to have that day. And I'm not talking about outside experiences, about the experiences in here. A very, very powerful game. So if you have any questions, let me know here in the chat. But this is part 2 of it. Part 1 is finding the words. All right, you guys. Okay, let me see what Tansel says. She says, she or he, I don't know how I connected yesterday. Saw you both live yesterday and I joined. I probably, if you come, for those of you who don't know how this live stream works, it's every day at 2 p.m. Now, Central Standard, thank you. So we post a link on a community tab, but if you come on the Inspired channel, if you just click in Inspired channel, you click on it. If you come on the channel at 2 p.m. Central Standard, whatever time that is in your time zone, then you will automatically see the live stream. We also post the link a few hours before on the community tab, and you can set a reminder there that will remind you when it's coming on. And some of you I know are getting notifications. Probably not all subscribers. So these are some of the ways that you can join us on the live stream. Inspired Tribe. This was it for today. I feel that we will have another UC session coming up very soon, maybe even tomorrow. We'll see. But today was all about creating these new visions, and the alphabet game is one part of it. But understanding the power of your mind, understanding the power, the limitless power that we have right now in this time in our history. Now, we were always limitless, but the advantage that we have right now is the collective awareness of this situation. We're literally all in this together. We always have been, but we're in this boat now energetically, which is amazing. We have this groundbreaking new time, new opportunity, and we will not cease to remind ourselves and remind you all of this amazingness, of the amazing quality of this time and what it means and how we can create something new. Talk about it, tweet about it, create, script, dream, meditate, be a co-creator. The planet now is co-creating at the highest rate ever. This is what this time is about, Inspired Tribe. And you are source energy creators. You know that you've heard this so many times. You are co-creators on the leading edge, because the principles that so many are just beginning to understand, you're already living them. You have been living them, and now is your time to shine. You are vibrational leaders turning into community, human leaders in your communities. God knows, maybe for the whole planet. This is the time. Inspired Tribe, thank you so much for tuning in. For those of you who have asked us how you can support us, if you desire to do so, there's on top of the vibrational support, if you feel like you want to send financial support, we do have our merch store underneath here. If you feel like anything is resonating with you, those are a lot of fun. There is a PayPal button if you want to send a contribution, and we appreciate it, but it is really important. It is really important that this is vibrationally aligned for you, okay? Because this is how the new energies work. We love you guys. We appreciate you, and we're wishing you an inspired rest of your day.